Hello and welcome to The Street Pianist, a celebration of all the wonderful musicians who play street piano, even when nobody's listening. My name is Claire Sudbury, and I love watching and listening to people playing piano. I also love telling stories. And this story started with part 1 of Anthony's interview, which you can listen to in episode 1 of the podcast. When you do listen, you'll find out that I first met Anthony outside Forsyth's piano shop when I went there to meet the producers of the piano TV show. But then I saw him again when my son sent me a photograph of a guy playing a grand piano in a shopping centre, and it turned out to be Anthony. And then coincidentally, I bumped into him outside the finale concert of the piano TV show. His name is Anthony Thomas, and this is part 2 of his story. But warning, it contains some major spoilers from the piano TV show. So if you haven't watched episodes 5, 6 and 7, I recommend you do that first before you listen to this podcast. Hello, Anthony.
Hello.
It's great to chat to you. You were telling me that you don't actually have a piano. You
Not
have
a real
something
one.
you can play on, but you
Yes.
don't have an actual piano.
Not an acoustic piano, I'd love one. And the reason I'd love a real one is because you cannot replicate that sound.
Yeah.
As you probably know, you've
Yeah.
got a real one. When you play a digital piano, it's however good it is, it's never going to have that feel
Yeah.
or that. Or,
Yeah.
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 So much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love
Because I do have quite a good digital piano.
Yeah.
I ended up spending more money than I'd intended to. Because it's a flat thing, isn't it? If you get this one, then you'll get this and this. And I really wanted something that was as close as
You were
possible to an
upsold.
actual piano. Is a Kawai.
Kawai.
I can't remember them off, from Forsyth.
That's a good
So it was a lot of money, but the weird thing is you could easily spend a lot more than that on a piano. But my actual piano is slightly less than that, because I bought it second-hand during lockdown, and it's not great. But I do prefer to play my real piano, which costs less money
So you're one
than
of
the electronic one.
You're one of the cohort of COVID piano players, lockdown players.
Yes.
That,
Are there a lot
we
of
hear
them?
a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
And
You two were telling me that you also revived your piano playing during
Yeah.
lockdown. So
I left
tell me
it.
about that.
I left it behind for years, and I'd done it as a kid. I'd had a piano as a kid at school, and I hadn't had any lessons or anything, but I'd loved playing it. And then,
So you were self-taught as a child?
yeah,
Yeah.
So like all my bad habits are my own fault. It's totally. But I left it and played for about 10 years, mid-20s to 30s.
So just
yeah.
rewind a little bit. So you taught yourself when you were a child, and to
Yeah.
what standard? What could you play when you were a child?
Oasis stuff. It was that era, wasn't it? It was like 90s indie, Blur.
And like how much, based on what you can now do,
Yeah.
how much finesse was there in what you were doing as a child?
I wasn't going to put it like that. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten. I'd say I've improved massively after what I did in that gap. So in
Yeah.
that gap, I took up guitar,
Oh.
and this is. Oh, I always tell people. I say learn another instrument as well.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of keys, go and play trombone. Go and play guitar. Go and play something else.
Yeah.
Because if you ever come back to piano, you've got all this great input you can put into it. You
Yeah,
can,
so it gives you a lot of knowledge. It gives you a breadth of knowledge as well. You're seeing it from another perspective.
So I didn't play blues or any sort of jazz or any sort of stuff like that prior to my gap. And when
Yeah.
I came back, I'd done it all on lead guitar and rhythm guitar, and you realise, oh, that's a guitar lick,
Yeah.
and you shove it all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I play with my husband, who's not a pianist, he's a guitarist,
Yeah.
and we speak a completely different language.
I bet you hate playing in E&A, which is what guitarists all play everything in.
There are lots of things that I am used to playing on piano, or that I'm used to singing in unusual keys, and he'll just be like, we're either going to have to change the key or I'm not going to be able to
Yeah.
accompany you.
Time to put a capo on.
Yeah. So you went away, you stopped playing piano, you learned to play guitar,
Yeah.
and then lockdown happened, and then what?
And I just thought, we're going to be stuck in. And you know when they opened up slightly?
Yeah.
And during lockdown, I ended up playing a lot of piano on my own, in my house.
So you had a keyboard?
Yeah.
And did you already have a keyboard?
Yeah.
And so how come you had a keyboard at all? Was that just because you...
I think I bought it in about 2019. A breakup in 2018. And I
Right.
thought, I've got nothing to do here. And now
Yeah.
by the 2020, Boris Johnson's told us to stay at home.
Yeah.
What we're going to do?
So you did have a keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing it much.
Yeah.
But it was lockdown. That prompted it. And the movie with Rami Malek in it is Freddie Mercury.
Oh, right.
Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that movie and I thought, I've got to learn all these Queen songs.
Yeah.
No, I'm putting it off.
Yeah.
Put it off for years.
Yeah.
So I went through them meticulously, listening to them, and wrote it all out, and then by ear went in.
So I was going to ask you actually how you learned Bohemian Rhapsody. Is there a piano part on the original? Yeah, because he plays piano. Yeah. But there are a lot of other instruments on the original. So were you transposing, like just picking out what you wanted to play and what you could play on the piano?
Yeah. So like you think, if I was a listener and I didn't play anything, what am I hearing in that song?
Yeah.
What's the main motifs that are being expressed? So the vocal, guitar, the bass, or the beginning. And initially in Bohemian Rhapsody, the beginning is the piano, and it's really distinctive.
Yes, of course.
And it's a hook.
Yes.
So you were saying about getting engagement at a station, let's say. If you start off with Bohemian Rhapsody, you might think you might run away with that, but no, if you start with that,
right,
you've immediately got everyone's ear. And it doesn't matter what you play next, everybody's listening. But yeah, so that initial hook, and then you've got Freddie's vocal. So if you play that as well, and then maybe you left and try and carry on what you were playing with your right. Keep that going, so you're doubling up. And then you get to parts where the guitar comes in. You've got to do that because it's part of it. So you're playing Freddie Mercury's lines solo. And then the end is piano as well. So that's beautiful to end on. Yeah, the whole thing's was wonderful.
It's actually a very complex song, and it's very long, and it's got a lot of different bits, and the way it moves between the bits is really quite unusual. So I've got a great story about Bohemian Rhapsody and Manchester, actually. So this is years ago. My husband and I had been out clubbing, and we were on our way home on the 192 bus, the iconic 192 bus.
I used to live on that. I used to live at the Heaton Chapel.
Yeah, there you go. So you'll know the 192 bus then. So we were on the 192 bus, and it is the Manchester bus. It's like the iconic route. And you get all sorts of characters on the 192 bus. So this was, I don't know, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
Yeah, 1 in the morning.
And somebody on the bus, some drunken person on the bus, started singing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Fantastic.
And it wasn't long before they lost track of where they were up to and they forgot the words.
Did you prompt
somebody else picked it up. And I can't remember, we joined in too, but basically the whole bus sang the whole of Bohemian Rhapsody. No, I don't believe any one person on that bus knew the whole song.
No, it was just like
but
a relay race.
Those, every time one person ran out of steam, somebody else picked up the baton, and we sang the whole song. And by the end, the whole bus was and then there was a massive round of applause. And we got
honestly, like, this song is legendary. The occasion, like the amazing occasions I've had playing that song in different places. So I think we were saying I've been to where have you played? Where are street pianos? I've played Bohemian Rhapsody in Battersea Power Station. There's 2 in there, and everybody's singing it.
Oh.
In Paddington, is it in King's Cross? There I've done it. Yeah. Not One Trick Pony. It's not the only song I play, but whenever I play that one, it's a very special song to people. People hold that. Like say, even people on the 192, Manchester, Stepping Hill.
It's got a really special something. It really is a very special thing. I can see why you wanted to play it. But that brings me to another question I wanted to ask you, which is memorable moments. So that sounds like Battersea Power Station, everybody singing. That sounds like a memorable moment. Have you got other particular kind of moments of magic that you remember?
I've been playing Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Now that's that's a really distinctive
I heard
sound.
you play that outside of Viva Studios, and it took me... I'm really bad at recognising things out of context, so quite often it'll be, I know this, but what is it? It was my husband actually who worked it out. Of course, that's what it is.
I remember trying to learn that because it's not an easy thing to keep going. There's a synth part that goes through the whole thing, keeps going, and then play the melody on top of it. But it's one of those magic songs, isn't it? Bohemian Rhapsody, everybody knows it. You know the chorus at least, and they're the songs you seek out. But I'm trying to think where was memorable. Probably Battersea. I went down to London last March. And there's a community of pianists down there. They all play boogie woogie. So we ended up doing boogie woogie stuff. We did Queen songs. I did Tears for Fears, and then there was a singer who I think she came out of nowhere up in the rafters of Battersea Power Station. Started belting this out operatically. It's fantastic.
So what you want?
About engagement. And she came down, and then we ended up doing our songs for like an hour. And then they were slightly tipsy, bottles of wine, and passing it around, and security weren't looking, and street pianos were magic. I know there's no money change hands. It's all for free. And it's just for for laugh.
Just for fun. So you started playing during lockdown. And then at some point you graduated to street pianos. When did that happen?
When they opened up. So we had the tier 1 and 2 in Manchester, and I just met my girlfriend. Like, we were allowed to have, because people weren't allowed to have contact with each other. So I met her during that period, and we weren't allowed to meet up.
Oh,
so we were chatting away.
Yeah.
And she was musical.
Did you meet online or something?
Yeah, I think it was like, might have been Match or Tinder or something. It's one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
And we met at a park, and we immediately hit it off because we're both into music. She's a barbershop singer, and but you can't do anything. You couldn't obviously have any physical contact or do anything like that. So we spent a lot of time chatting away, and then I was showing her sending some of my songs, some of these piano songs, and she was sending me back the vocal.
Oh.
We're putting it together, so it's dead wonderful. And that encouraged me to go and play them out. When Boris Johnson lifted up the restrictions, you go out and start going back to full size piano outside the music shop, and wonderful when people walk past and they all join in on Sunday evening.
Yeah. But you said you go to other cities as well.
Recently, a couple of years back, started going to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because they've got a piano trail in the middle of summer. Leeds do one. Been going a bit recently. Bradford have just started one. I suppose you could call it a bit of a piano trail scene.
Yeah.
And if you interview any other street performers or pianists, they might tell you all the ones that they've been to, you know. And, I know people do it in Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
I know there's one in Brighton.
Right.
Station.
Yeah.
Badger.
Speaking
And abroad. There's ones abroad.
Yes, and like we were talking about this earlier, you don't go abroad to find street pianos, but if you know you're going abroad, you look up where the nearest street pianos are.
That would be a bit mad. Yeah, I'm usually, if I'm on holiday, before I fly off, like I'll check how's the one at the station there. We might spend half a day go and entertain people at Gare du Nord or something in Paris, or there was one at Amsterdam.
And does your girlfriend sing when you're both there together?
Yes, occasionally. If she knows the song.
Yeah.
Or sometimes she's had enough of it. I want to sit in Nero, you go and do it. But other than that, she'll join in a lot of the time.
But speaking of memorable moments, you actually sent me, I was gutted because I was literally there but not there. You sent me a video of what I would definitely, watching that video, I thought it was a very, very memorable moment. And depending on when this goes out, I might have to edit this out.
That's why I held it back, because I don't know if there's some embargo or...
There is. At the moment, we're not allowed to talk about it, but I'm not going to be publishing this until after I'm on telly anyway. And we could just wait a couple of weeks, and then we would be able to. So let's talk about it anyway.
Oh,
we won't publish it until we can.
I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, tell me the story.
I saw the leaflet for the piano trail, so I went checking out all the pianos as we've done today.
Yeah.
I found that one at Aviva Studios, and I thought, this is nice. I'm going to camp out here.
Right.
There's nobody about, like you said. You can just practice. Nobody's going to care, and I'll put my little camera out and I'll video it, and I might get some social media thinking.
Yeah.
So this must have been like one of the better pianos in the world at that moment, because I didn't know, but they were filming the piano TV show, Channel 4, in there, and loads of people came out. The audience came out first, and they were all dead interested, and they're like all joining in and great. And then they disappeared, and then who comes out but all of the contestants from the show, all these pianists. I've seen you before, looking across at him. And then Kai came out, who's a boogie-woogie player from Leeds, who I didn't really know had been on the show, and his mate Kyron. And we just did some impromptu boogie-woogie. Everybody did some duets. It was great.
Yeah.
So we did like about an hour and a half of duets with all the contestants.
Yeah.
We had Danny, who was on it.
Well, he wasn't actually.
Oh, was he not?
See, I was there because I've been on the programme this year, so I was in the show, and I wasn't aware that there was anybody from last year, so he must have just been in the audience. So
I will send you what I recorded.
Yes.
Maybe you can use any of it after.
Yeah.
But so Danny sat down. He did his song, which is this beautiful, melancholic vocal that he does with his piano. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And one of the other contestants started duetting it with him, played this lovely line over the top of it. Absolute magic.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That was a certain style, gorgeous, very no thirds in the chords. Danny plays like these octaves, but he doesn't play the fifth in the middle. He plays something else. So he's got all these lovely jazzy.
Yeah.
I'd say the 11ths or 9ths if you're playing them classically properly.
Yeah.
All over the place. Beautiful.
Yeah.
This recording has been edited to remove spoilers. The complete spoiler full episode will be published after the last episode of The Piano has been aired on the 9th of June 2024.
And I've seen the video, and I was actually in the building while this was happening, but I didn't know it was happening, so I only know about it because you sent me the video.
I thought I'd send it you because you'd appreciate it.
With the other pianist.
I'm sorry, you were drunk.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Drunk piano. This is another thing you can do with street pianos. You meet a lot of people who possibly are drunk. Which is great.
So I probably will prefix this whole thing with the story of how I met you. But I met you when I first went to, because they published on Facebook that the producers were going to be outside Four Sides on Deansgate in Manchester, the producers of the TV show, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if I could get... It's ridiculous. Of course, I'm not going to get onto that, but I'll just go and do a bit of schmooze and then have a chat with these people. And actually, when I got there, it was still really early, so there was hardly anybody there. But I did speak to one person from the show, and then you turned up, and then you were playing George Michael and getting me to sing. I think it was Careless Whisper. Yeah, so you got me to sing Careless Whisper and you accompanied me. I discovered I really like to sing George Michael. Like, it's exactly the right range. We sing in the same vocal range, me and George Michael. I did not know that until that day. Yeah. And I've sung a couple more George Michael.
Well, you say you're a tenor, so in your choir, so it must be up there.
Yeah,
It's a song in
tenor, alto too, always. Yeah, I've always had a really low voice. But anyway, so I met you that day. And then never saw you again. Yeah. And then we were all invited. You were just there, and we were all invited in the audience for the piano. So and then the story you've just told. You just happened to be. But I'd said to my husband earlier that day, I wonder what happened to that guy that I met all those months ago outside. I wonder if he ended up on the show. I wonder if we'll see him tonight. And then you weren't inside, but you were outside. Yeah. And so you didn't that the piano was going to be there. You just randomly. And I actually said to my husband earlier that day, I wonder if I'll see that guy.
I was there the day before as well, and there was nothing happened. So I'm putting in these street piano shifts. Occasionally, there's a TV program being recorded.
My son, even more coincidentally, my son, just before the show started, had happened to be in the Arndale, had sent me a photo of the grand piano they had in the Arndale that they were using to advertise the show. And he was like, Claire, look, the piano, they've got this thing in the Arndale. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then the next day, I looked at the photo again. I was like, oh, you're playing the piano. That's him again. It's that guy. It's Anthony. Yeah.
Well, the story of that is I was really ill that morning. I went into town because I thought they've got the trail on. They put this Four Sides put the piano trail on, and Arndale's listed on there, so I'm going to go check it out in case the piano is. Have a look. Yeah. And I thought, this is quite good for a piano trail. They've got a grand piano. Put this huge grand piano out with a green screen and the piano emblazoned on it. So I went down there and thought maybe they'll let us have a go on it. Asked, and they said yeah. I just started doing a load of Queen stuff, did Don't Stop Me Now, did the George Michael.
Fantastic song.
The lead line of it is fantastic. Really
I like singing along with it, it's a great song.
Do it if that's any good ever. And we did Careless Whisper, did Englishman in New York, did an Oasis song through Manchester, Wedding Road. She's Electric, which is another Oasis song.
That one. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking the right one. She's Electric.
Yeah. She's got things I never expected. Many more times. And then I think I finished with a Beatles song like Lady Madonna, which is the boogie one. Yeah. So it was just such a surprise. Like this, I ended up chatting with the producers. They said the piano was like a 240 grand piano. And I thought, oh no, I can't touch this. It's like double the price of my house. Can't afford it. But there were two other pianists there. I can't remember their names, but they were fantastic. And I think I told them to apply for the show. They were classical pianists, and my days are absolutely beautiful. And then it's come to a point where I find with a lot of the different pianos I play, they're all very different. There's old pianos, there's new ones, there's Yamahas that are bright, there's Steinways that have got different sounds in the middle. Yeah. This grand piano was absolutely beautiful. It had this lovely mid-range. It's like it's built for classical. Every part of it sounds out beautiful. Yeah. And I don't know if it suited me too well because I was like pedaling on the bass lines and playing bass lines. It was like a classical pianist, they're playing all these beautiful left-hand stuff. Yeah.
I found that
suited them.
Pianos don't suit the music. Actually, a lot of the really fancy posh pianos, they don't really suit the kind of music that I play. No. I feel limited somehow. I feel held back
It's almost as if to play the big grand pianos, you need to be a wide pianist. You need to be able to play the full range.
Right, yeah.
You need to play or most parts of it.
Yeah.
I find. It's something I've been trying to work on, is doing it more with.
Right.
And because I've been playing street piano, I've been doing, like what you were saying, you play quite occasionally down the bottom if you want to octave the bass up. And,
See, but I just love bass lines. I just want everything to be like, there's got to be a bass line.
I
want a good bass line. And I think maybe classical pianos aren't always so great at the bass line.
No, there's less of that. It's just, and it's not a bad thing, it's just different styles. It's still different type of music, isn't it? Yeah.
Anthony, thank you so much for talking to me. This is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Now, you've already heard some of Anthony's piano playing because I've been using it as theme music for the podcast, but I'm sure you'd like to hear some uninterrupted piano playing from Anthony. So I'm now going to include a recording of Anthony playing Careless Whisper. Enjoy. Thank you to Anthony Thomas, who provided the theme music, and stay tuned to hear more fascinating stories from street musicians.